The first match was Penthouse against Jay White, and I don't mean that was a high point, but you will notice a pattern emerging here on the review as we go forward. Penthouse jump-started it before the bell with a dive out of the ring on everybody but his opponent. But then he got him afterwards. And then, did you love, I know Taz is trying to do his job, even though they don't give him much to work with, and to come up with some way to not get any on him when this happens. But Penthouse runs and does a dive on everybody on the floor, and then gets on Jay White, and then throws him in the ring, and goes to the top and does a double foot stomp off the top onto Jay White, and then the referee rings the bell and drops down to count. So obviously it looked as if the referee had been bribed, but Taz said, well, it may look like the referee had been bribed, I guess, or whatever he said. It may look like a referee's an idiot, but the rules are that the match officially starts when both men are in the ring. Where the fuck did that rule come from? Is that a Tony Khan?
Tony Khan.
Okay. You will agree with me that this has never been a rule in any other professional wrestling organization ever, that regardless of what has happened, if somebody's been jumped on the floor, whatever the case, that the match officially starts when both people get in the ring and the referee has no discretion of whether that's the case. That's never, ever been a rule anywhere in the history of wrestling, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But Taz is trying. So, these guys can't fucking work. Penthouse is the shits. All he cares about is doing his stupid fucking mannerisms that get in the way of the fucking match. He has no logical idea of what to do or when to do it or how to sell it. And Jay White, I think, has been in Japan for so long that he's pretty much the same category. After a minute or two, Jay White just cut the guy off and started the heat. There was no heeling him down or anything. Penthouse, most of his selling involves adjusting his mask, sticking his tongue out, and waving his hands in the air. And then he totally, because there is no logic and psychology to an American audience to what he or any of the lucha guys are doing. I'm sorry, it works there, it don't work here. He totally killed the heat that Jay White got because he started back on offense. And we've talked about when a babyface is selling and he fights from underneath, that's one thing, or a hope spot, that's one thing. But when the guy completely takes over and begins offensive shit or ducking and running spots, then you've killed the fucking heat. And he just kind of made a half-ass comeback, and then Jay White stopped him again. And then did you see when Jay White tied his, because Penthouse has what are they, the fucking streamers or goddamn tassels on his mask. Jay White tried to tie the mask to the ring ropes, and he couldn't tie a knot. And the announcer started joking about Jay White couldn't tie a knot because as soon as he tied the knot and let go, the shit fell off by itself. And I mean, this was shit. You could have tied these things in a knot. One would think that a full-grown professional wrestler could rip loose fairly easily.
It's an AEW thing. Name one person in AEW who has successfully taped or knotted their opponent's hands.
Or head.
Yeah, or handcuffed.
Yeah.
Remember when Adam Cole got handcuffed and everyone thought he could just walk out of the handcuffs? And then the other day, Omega got taped to the rope and they couldn't get the tape to stick to the rope.
If you can't work duct tape, God damn it. It's not like there's instructions on the duct tape for people.
And of course, they did the spot in the middle of the match where everything slows down. So after all the physicality, we could see who's really tough. And I'll show you my chest and you show me yours.
Yeah.
And we'll slap each other as slow and as hard as we can because it's not a work anymore.
Well, again, when White is beating on Penthouse is on his knees, daring him to do more, so he did. And then Penthouse started to come back and did a dive, and then after the dive, he rolls Jay White in. He doesn't cover him. He stands there and makes his stupid fucking hand gesture and lets his opponent get up and then stands there while White starts hitting him. And then he says, wait a minute. He tells his opponent, stop hitting me. I got to take my glove off. And Jay White cooperates by standing there stock still and dumbstruck in the same place while Penthouse took his glove off and then turned his back on Jay White and threw the glove to Alex and then drew back and hit Jay White right in the mush. And then Jay White turns around and just says, okay. And Penthouse stands there while Jay White chops him. And that went on. And in fact, I skipped ahead to the finish, which Penthouse hit some kind of weird move that I can't imagine is good for your spinal column and got a 2 count. And then Juice hit Penthouse with the TJ Maxx diamond ring that he's wearing now that took the place of the infamous roll of quarters. And Jay White hit his finish 1, 2, 3. So the challenger for the world heavyweight title can't beat this fucking guy without one of his cohorts knocking him out with a ring first. And then he didn't beat him with the ring. He then picked him up and hit his fucking finish. So it took the ring and the finish to beat this fucking guy. They're idiots. They don't know how to be heels. Your thoughts?
Yeah, not really the style of wrestling I liked. It seemed like the people there were into it, so we'll say that. But a lot of you mentioned before how in the middle of taking off his glove, he just turns around and throws it. There were a couple points, and again, I know it's not just him, but Penta does the thing where his guy's down, so he turns and runs the other way as fast as he can.
Yes.
It's all about the cheap pop in so many of these guys' matches, and I don't like it. And there's nothing else I could say. I don't know what else I could say.
Well, we were 17 minutes into the program for that so far, and then I thought we were done, and I wrote, my God, he's going to talk now. And Jay White starts talking. It's a rib at this point that they are always in the longest segment of the show, and it goes on forever. And Jay White is out there blowed up, and he can't start. And then he's trying to cut a promo on MJF, but he's even more whiny voice than normal because he's blown up. And nobody wants to hear this guy talk. And he's trying to convince the people that he's over rather than being convinced of it and speaking like it. And then Juice takes the mic, which was an improvement, and he's calling himself the Stray Bullet instead of the Loose Cannon, the Bullet Club or the Bang, Bang, Gang, Bang, Bang, whatever the fuck they are. I love the voice. I love the promo. I don't want to see it after 19 minutes of this other horse shit, but he swears that he's going to win the battle royal that they're going to have tonight for the shot next week at MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring. And he's got an even better one, his cubic zirconium ring. So that was fine and got the point across. But now by the time he was done and we got those heels out of there, we were 21 minutes into the program.